show is called At This Performance, and what prompted you to say to yourself, you know, I want to do in-depth interviews with people, and I think I'm going to do it in a podcast form. And how am I going to get started? And I think it's very cool and telling. I said today I was listening again to the first one you did yourself. I said, let me listen to it again. And I said, you know, my girl got it like, if I build it, they will come. Because you were just on there by yourself, talking about yourself. I said, well, that takes a lot of courage because she's hoping that somebody's going to, like, she's going to generate a buzz. Mm-hmm. And so how did you strategize all this? Or was it just like, it was all based on love and the magic that, you know, because you're creating magic there as well. So mm-hmm. you kind of have that pixie dust of Disney all over you all the time, I think, which is a wonderful quality to have. Yeah. And that's why people talk to you, too.
So years ago, I used to do a live show with co-hosts. I was actually one of the co-hosts. I was brought on board. We interviewed soap opera stars.
Oh, that's a different one. I know you have that other radio one I want to talk about later.
We interviewed a bunch of soap stars, and we did that. I did that for a while. Then that ended, and years later, I got involved with a radio station called No More Games Radio.
Yes.
Where I live DJ'd. So just doing that, I actually did a similar show to what I'm doing now on the radio station, but it just wasn't working on the radio station. I just thought, let me do my own podcast about it. And all of my fellow DJs were so on board with it. They were like, go do. They're like, we can't wait to listen. And one of my other friends who's not involved with it, I've actually known her through the soap operas for years. Her name is Michelle. And mm-hmm. It was just her birthday yesterday, so happy belated birthday, Michelle. She started a podcast with her friend, mm-hmm. and I was listening to it, and I was like, how did you start this? So she was actually a big part of how I got started, and just doing that. And she's like, you know, just pick a subject, pick what you want to call it, and think about what you want to do, and just do it.
Yep. And now you're in year 2.
Yes.
And you have more than probably 30, like I know up on the boards it's like 28 or 29, but I know
30 episodes.
30 episodes in. You know, let's take another offering because I have more to say, but we'll just come back in just a moment. Jen, I just don't want to get carried away and go up and away. So I do want to talk about, so you say you have your friend Michelle, she's like, you could pick a subject. You get on there for 15 minutes the first time, and you're like, I'm just going to talk about myself and how much I love the theater and how, you know, like how I'm a, I like Disney and, and we got to talk about the cats too, mm-hmm. with all the names, because that's another connection I have. You all named one cat Gigi, and my mother loved that. We saw the movie. We had Maurice Chevalier records at home. I mean, so I was like all about that Gigi. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So when, it's one thing to have the vision and start it, but what was it like to put the wheels in motion, and did anything surprise you? Was anything harder than you thought? Was anything easier? Like, were people responsive performers and you got them easier than you thought, or, any of that kind of stuff?
I was just surprised that people were like, yeah, I'll do the podcast. And I'm like, really? You'll talk to me? My gosh, But 95% of my guests I've known from previous, seen them in shows or recently met. My very first guest, his name is Sam Harvey. I met him doing, he does the boy band project.
Right, and that's another thing that's how I met you, because of Jane, and I've had Travis on the show, and you've had Travis on your show, and and it's they really do a great.
Oh, they do, they definitely do. So I had known Sam about 2 months, and I'm like, do you want to be my first guest?
And he's like, sure.
So then we did that, and he's been my yearly co-host now. Every single time I do my anniversary episode, he's right there.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's really wonderful.